No matter who you are, you will have haters. John 15 verse 18 says, if the world hates you, know that it hated Jesus first. So if you have haters, know that God is greater than your haters. Lately you've been feeling the weight of your haters coming at you with their envy and their hate, scheming against you, throwing mud on your name. But God's gonna work it out despite their lies and game. God is greater, so much greater than your haters. God is greater, don't give up, it'll pay off later. God is greater, through the pain you're a giant slayer.
The average person knows 7 to 10 people who they can go out drinking with, go to dinner with, party with, shoot the breeze with, but don't have at least one person who they could build with in the direction of their goals and their dreams. And this is problematic when you are really trying to focus on the things that you want to do, be, and have to better your life. You got to get around iron sharpeners. I need everyone to like and share this video. Before we get into today's topic, I want to tell you about the awesome inspirational mug that I am drinking out of this morning. And it is the Entrepreneur's Affirmation mug. And this is a beautiful mug that contains affirmation so that the entrepreneur, those of us who have an entrepreneurial calling on our lives, can continue moving forward in power, in authority, in confidence. And if you would like something to inspire you as an entrepreneur, you can get the mug at CassandраMackMinistries.com and click on the link that says merch. If you have any of our inspirational mugs, hoodies, t-shirts, any of my books, which one do you have and how has it benefited your life? Let me know in the comment section the product you have and how has it benefited your life. So let's get back to the topic at hand. Most people, as I said, know an average of 7 to 10 people that they can go out drinking with, shoot the breeze with, that they can just hang out with, right? But don't have at least one person who they can build in the direction of their goals and their dreams. And even if you don't drink, you don't gamble, you don't do these things, if you were to, you would probably know at least 7 to 10 people, somebody that you can call within your family, on your job, somebody you grew up with that would be down to go with you. But when it comes to you reaching out about a business idea, you reaching out about a money-making idea, you reaching out about health and fitness, you reaching out about growing in the word of the Lord, you will find that it is crickets and people are MIA. And as you get really serious about your growth and your goals and unlocking your gifts, it is very, very important to do an inventory of your inner circle so that you can really begin to assess, am I walking with people in this season that I no longer need to be walking with? And this doesn't mean I don't have love for them. This doesn't mean I don't show them love. This doesn't mean that I don't have an appreciation for history and our memories together. But it does mean that where I'm going, I'm not getting the sharpening that I need. And I'm going to give you the scripture about iron sharpeners in a moment. And so you will find people that if you call them and you're like, hey, I got an extra ticket to go to so-and-so and it's going to cost you nothing, you down to go? Oh yeah, come get me. Or hey, there's a new bar, you want to go get a beer? Oh yeah. And even if that's not your thing, if you chose to do that, there's probably somebody that you could call that would be down to meet up with you and go, hey, let's go get some pizza, so-and-so, whatever it is. Or just shooting the breeze. Did you hear what happened with the situation with Diddy? Did you hear what happened with, and you can talk about celebrity gossip. And they're going to stay on the phone with you for a whole hour and a half to talk about who's doing what in celebrity culture. But let you call somebody about your goal, about your dream, about getting some feedback, about content that you want to create, about a podcast that you want to move forward in, about a book that you want to write, and it's crickets. So I don't want to talk about that mess. I don't talk about that ish. I don't talk about that. That's boring. And it's for so many, I don't want to talk about that ish. It's boring that you are going to be on the receiving end before you have to make the realization that you are not like-minded, even if you come from the same place, the same neighborhood, the same bloodline. And you got to make a decision understanding that you can have love for someone, but that doesn't mean that this is the season where you walk together. Amos 3:3 says, can two walk together except they be agreed? And so when you agree to walk your life in the direction of the building of your goals and your dreams, you got to take a moment, assess the people whom you spend the most time with, and ask yourself, am I engaging in time-wasting activities by being on the phone with this person for 2 hours, arguing and going back and forth about the Diddy situation, arguing and going back and forth about what's going on with J-Lo and Ben Affleck, as if I'm in their house and I know what's going on, arguing about politics when there are things that I'm trying to accomplish, and I'm spending 2 hours on things that are not benefiting me personally, that are not expanding my horizons, that are not helping me to grow, that are not helping me find a way to put food on the table, save for a rainy day, that are not getting me healthy, fit mentally as well as physically, that are not helping me to grow spiritually. Man, I can't even pray with you. Like, you don't even want to pray. When I be like, can we just take 2 seconds of praying? I don't want to pray. I'm good. And so at some point, you got to make a decision. Do I want to continue walking with this person? Don't mean I don't have love for them. Don't mean we don't have history and I don't have an appreciation for history and memories. But history and memories have to take a back seat to destiny and future. Because this is where I'm trying to go. And I do not have an unlimited supply of time. Time is a resource that comes in a limited supply because none of us know when our day is going to come, where it is time to give up the body. So we want to be really mindful about that. And we tend to be the sum total of the people whom we spend the most time with. And so look around and begin to ask yourself, who do I spend the most time with? And you will find that your lives are pretty similar. Your lives are pretty similar in terms of income, in terms of health and fitness. And when you really want to make a dramatic and a drastic change, I didn't say your life is the same. I said pretty similar, so I want to be very clear. And there's research to back this up. When you want to make a drastic change, you got to change your circle, even if it means moving in a circle of one until God begins to send iron sharpeners to your life. Because sometimes we got to get to a place where we don't have need of other people to validate us and to give us what we need to get from God. And then God begins to say, okay, now I can send you I can send you purpose partners, because you're not going to make nobody else an idol. You're not going to make anyone an idol. You understand that I come first, right? Seek first the kingdom. And so do understand that we tend to be the sum total of the people whom we spend the most time with. Now, again, this doesn't mean you don't have love for family. And if you are, gathering with family, you may talk about whatever you talk about with family, but you are clear that your priority is your goals and your dreams. And there are going to be a lot of invitations that you might be declining this year when you're pursuing your goals and your dreams. You may not even come around family as often as you used to, because your priority is your goal and your dream, even if they're upset about it, because your priority is not talking about celebrity culture for 2 hours or sharing memes for 2 hours when you have other things you're trying to build. Even if they don't like it, even if they have something to say about it that's negative, you can't concern yourself with that, because you can't pay your bills with the opinions of other people, right? So with that being said, this is what Proverbs 27:17 says. It says, as iron sharpens iron, a man should sharpen the countenance of his friend. So man meaning mankind. So you want to begin to really assess your inner circle and ask the question, am I surrounded by iron sharpeners or iron dullers? Now look what the scripture says in Proverbs 27:17, as iron sharpens iron. And so the thinking here, the principle here is that it's supposed to be reciprocal. One iron blade sharpens the other iron blade, and they do so for one another. So it's not that one iron blade sharpens an iron blade and the other one just stands there and does nothing. Iron sharpens iron. It's not one sharpens while one dulls. Iron sharpens iron. And there are a lot of people who have big ideas, big goals, big dreams. And the reason that you're not growing at the rate that you desire to grow, if you are putting in the work, is because a lot of you are around iron dullers. You're around people that are trying to dull your shine rather than iron sharpening. And you may be sharpening them, but it's not being reciprocated. So if it's not being reciprocated, you are wasting your time. Relationships are supposed to be reciprocal, not transactional, but reciprocal. Unless it's business, business is transactional. You go to the store, you have your money to buy your bread, eggs, milk, orange juice. That's the transaction. You give the money, you get your bread, eggs, and milk. That's a business transaction. But relationships are supposed to be reciprocal. You are supposed to reap what you sow, right? As a man soweth, so shall he reap. And so when you are sowing into a friendship, there's an expectation of a harvest. And if the only thing that's being harvested from a family relationship or a friendship is gossip, is getting a drink every now and then, and things that don't really promote your growth, you may want to ask the question, do I need to have this person in my inner circle? And that's the key, because everything doesn't have to be extreme. Some of us get real extreme and say, well, I'm cutting everybody off. Sometimes that's not necessary, and you don't always want to cut off your extended support system. But you do want to say, do I need to have this cousin, this family member, this particular person who I've known since high school or college as part of my inner circle of trust, who I can talk to about the things that matter most to me while I do the same for them? If that is not the nature of our relationship, then they are the outer circle. And so the outer circle doesn't mean that they're cut off. It means that when I choose to go to a family function, it's all love. It's good to see you. I got kids. You got kids. If that's the case, we want our kids to get to know each other. They play together. They play ball, whatever they do. It was a moment we shared. The kids had a good time. We laughed, and I go on about my business. But I don't make it to the extent where we got to be on the phone all the time, and it's taking away from the building of my goal, from the thing that is a priority to me. And that's if you choose to go around, certain family functions. But be very clear about what your priorities are. And here's the thing. Your family doesn't get to decide your priorities. So just because they would prefer for you to make your priority hanging out, when your priority might be getting healthy and fit. Your priority might be focusing on your business. Your priority might be growing your ministry and taking your ministry to the next level, and that is your priority, even if it is not their priority. They don't get to decide what your priorities are for you, even if they don't like it, even if they talk about it, even if they have something to say about your life. This is key. So be very clear that you want to only have iron sharpeners as part of your inner circle. And again, you have a family member call you, check on you, hey, how you doing? That's fine, but keep it where it is. You don't need to be on the phone for 3 hours with things that don't grow and better your life. And so cap it off at about 15 minutes. Hey, it was good talking to you. I'm glad to see you doing okay. I'm glad to see the kids are okay. Got to get back to ... But, God bless us, all love. So just be very intentional. This is what I'm getting at. So that you don't waste your own time, because time is a resource that comes at a limited supply. You do not have all the time in the world, and neither do I. We all come with a death date. And you want to accomplish the things that you came to do. I want to give you another scripture. This is really going to put the point home, in my opinion. And it's Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verses 9 and 10. And it says, 2 are better than 1, because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. So look at the principle here and the phrasing. 2 are better than 1, right? And a lot of people leave it at that because they don't pull the full fruit from the scripture. 2 are better than 1 upon this condition. It's conditional. Two are better than one, and here's why two are better than one. Because they have a good return for their labor. So if you are around someone and there's no return on your labor, right? We see that there is the principle of reaping and sowing here. There's no return for your labor, then that relationship is fruitless. Two are better than one, and here's why. Because they have a good return for their labor. So you have to ask yourself, the people you spend the most time with, whether it's in person or on the phone, right? Am I getting a good return on my labor? When I think about what I sow into the relationship by way of time, emotional labor, giving of advice, whatever the context of the relationship is there a good return for my labor, or am I wasting my time away and not treating it as a respected resource? And a lot of times what happens is the other person is getting a good return on their labor because their values and priorities might be about shooting the breeze, hanging out, without a real purpose to the hanging out. And that's fine, no judgment on them. But you need to find somebody who's like-minded. If you are in a season where you're trying to build, it's going to be difficult to build with somebody that wants to play. How are you going to do that? The whole principle of being equally yoked comes from farming, where two animals are pulling a plow in the same direction, and the animals have to be going in the same direction, pulling in this, not just going in the same direction, but pulling the plow in the same direction. So if one animal is pulling while the other animal is playing, they're not going to be able to get to where they're trying to go at the rate they need to get there. If one isn't pulling at all, not even pulling their weight, while the other one is pulling, the plow won't move, because it takes two to move the plow. If one is moving it backward while the other is trying to move it forward, you're going to take 2 steps forward to take 10 steps backward. So two are better than one, according to Ecclesiastes 4, verse 9, because they have a good return on their labor. And so that's when two are better than one. Otherwise, you better be in solo. You better be in solo and allowing God to just pour into you until he sends iron sharpeners your way. And eventually you will meet iron sharpeners. And if you want to meet iron sharpeners, again, I would encourage you to become a member of the Cassandra Mack YouTube channel and take advantage of the things that we have there. The Wednesday Wellness Club. We also have a level for entrepreneurs where we meet by Zoom monthly, and you have an opportunity to be in community with like-minded, positive entrepreneurs who are either aspiring to start their entrepreneurial journey, or they're already on their entrepreneurial journey with a thriving business. So you're going to meet a multitude of different types of entrepreneurs, those just starting out, those who've been in business for a while, those who have a business idea and are thinking about how to get it started. And so whatever stage you are, you will meet people who will be able to pour into you, who will be able to share their thoughts and ideas with you. So I would encourage you to definitely make that investment in yourself. And so coming back to Ecclesiastes 4 and 9, now look what it says when you get to 10. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. So that's the purpose. So think about the times that you fell down. It could be mentally, emotionally, right? And it was no one to help you up. You're the go-to person for a bunch of people who you could never go to. And when you call to say what you're going through, it's crickets. Everybody's missing in action. But they will keep you on the phone for 2 hours, trauma dumping on you and venting all kind of stuff on you, different from sharing emotional experiences. They just trauma dump, but it's not a reciprocal relationship. This is problematic. So if either of them falls down, according to the scripture, one can help the other up. So if you have no one to help you up, what's the purpose of two is not better than one in that situation? Two are better than one because it gives us the reason, because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But look what it says, but pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. And so it's a shame when you got a whole circle of people who you could go out drinking with. If that's your thing, you could go out to eat with. you can go to the casino with, if that's your thing. I'm not promoting that. I said that if that's your thing, y'all are grown, y'all gonna do what y'all want to do. So if these are the things that you have people that you can talk to about all the celebrity gossip and what's going on with this celebrity and that celebrity, how is that helping you put money in your pocket? How is that helping you get healthy mentally, physically? How is that helping you? How is that growing your finances? How is that bettering your life? How is that growing you in the fruit of the Spirit and the things of God? And so pity the one who falls and has no one to help them. And one of the worst feelings in the world is to feel like you are fallen, and you know a lot of people, and you calling different people who you went out hanging out with, you went here with, you went there with, but no one could take a moment to speak a word of encouragement to you. No one can take a moment to be prayerful and say a little prayer for you, even if they don't know what to say. Just the fact that they're there to be a support to you, that's a start. But it's pitiful when we don't even have that. And so really begin to do an assessment of the people who you spend the most time with, and ask yourself, you're going to ask yourself these two questions. Do I have iron sharpeners around me, or do I have iron dullers? So number one, are they iron sharpeners? So everybody you hang with, get yourself a sheet of paper and a pen. Write their name down. And by hang, I'm talking about spend the most time with, whether it's on the phone, whatever your situation is, right? You're going to write them names down and ask yourself, are they sharpening me, or are they dulling me? And if they're not sharpening you, there's no neutrality. They're dulling you. So if you can't be sharpened by them, if they can't make you better by pouring into you as you make them better and pour into them. So it goes both ways. This is not one-sided. If they can never pray for you, say an encouraging word to you, just be there to listen. Sometimes people don't have the words to say, but they definitely will be there to listen. That's support. If you can never go to them with a goal or a dream and say, hey, I'm thinking about starting a podcast about A, B, and C. What do you think about that? What's your ideas? Do you watch podcasts? And you know they watch podcasts, right? But rather than saying, oh, well, these are 3 podcasts that I really enjoy, and I'm going to send you the links to them so you could get familiar with how a podcast is done. Or maybe you are going to do a YouTube channel on crocheting. You can throw in the particular subject matter. And crocheting might not be their thing, but they watch other YouTubers. And rather than saying, well, you know what? Some of the things that I've seen with, YouTube channels that grow is that they tend to do these 2 things. Or let me share 2 YouTube channels that I like with you and see what ideas you can get by watching them. So that's still a way to help, even if they don't understand the particulars or they're not into crocheting or the thing that you're doing, just being a support. And so if you don't have that around you, then you don't have iron sharpeners, you have dullers. Because the 2 hours that you were talking about what's going on with celebrity culture, the 2 hours that you were talking about arguing about politics, the 2 hours that you were talking about things that are wasting your time and everybody you grew up with and who's on drugs and who fell off, how is that feeding your mind? That's time that you could spend building what it is you are trying to build. So that's the question that you want to ask yourself. And then the second question, am I getting a return for my labor? Go to Ecclesiastes 4 verse 9. 2 are better than 1 because they have a good return for their labor. When I think about the time that I spend talking on the phone or being with this person, if we visit one another, whatever the setup is of the context of your relationship. When I think about the time we spend together, am I getting a good return for my labor, or am I the constant go-to person for people I can never go to? And that's going to help you reevaluate your circle. And again, you don't need to be extreme. Everything doesn't require I'm cutting everybody off. No, especially if they're not being toxic towards you. But it might mean that you have to put them in a different lane, meaning this is the cousin that I see twice a year, Christmas and Thanksgiving, when the whole family gets together, if that's your setup. This is the person that I'll see at this particular thing 4 times a year, and you leave it there. You don't make it more than what it is. You don't overly frustrate yourself. You ain't got to have a long, drawn-out conversation about why they're not sharpening you. You simply respect the fruit, because we know people by their fruit, and you move and shift accordingly. And you may have a season of being by yourself. I had a very long one without really having friends around you. And a lot of times that's the time where God is really helping you stir up your gifts, where God is pouring more and more into you to strengthen you for your purpose, for your destiny, because you can't have a million voices in your head when God is doing a new thing in your life. You have to train yourself to hear his voice very clearly during your entrepreneurial journey, for those of you that are entrepreneurs, during your journey in health and fitness, whatever the goal is. Maybe you're building your finances. Maybe you are growing your ministry. Maybe you are a musician. Whatever journey you are on where you are working towards the positive development of your goals, you are going to want the Lord to be ordering your footsteps, and you got to hear him clearly. And sometimes when we're distracted with a whole lot of people and opinions, it's hard to kind of know, like, what's my purpose in this season? What should I be doing in this season? And so just for purposes of clarity, you may be walking alone for a minute, and that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. God will send you iron sharpeners in the right time, in his divine time. So with that being said, if you are in a situation right now where you got more people that you can call for, you know, the fun stuff, you know, not just the fun stuff. A better word would be you have more people that you can call for things that don't really build you than you have to call just to talk about, like, your goals and dreams. So if you wanted to go out and get something to eat, you got someone you can call to do that. If you wanted to talk about what's going on with celebrity culture, there's definitely somebody there's whole chats that are assigned to that. There's definitely someone that you probably can call for that. But who do you have to call to really talk about your goals, your dreams, the things that you aspire to do? So if you're in that season right now, let me know in the comments, what are you doing to keep yourself in a good mental space so that you have the mental clarity to keep moving forward towards the things that you are building? What are you doing to make sure that you don't get discouraged concerning your path of where you're trying to take your life, even if you've come to the conclusion, wow, I really don't have any iron sharpeners around me. Like, I really am the go-to person for a whole lot of people that I can never go to. You know, I really don't have someone that if I fall, they're going to pick me up, or I get a return on my labor. A lot of times I'm giving a whole lot of emotional labor and I'm not getting labor in return. I really don't have that. So if you have come to that conclusion, what are you doing to stay focused on unlocking your gifts, on bettering your life? Maybe you're working towards your sobriety. Whatever that looks like for you, how are you staying focused despite the fact you may not have the support that you would like to have? What are you doing? Let me know. And again, I would encourage you to become a member of the Cassandra Mack YouTube channel, because that is definitely going to give you access to a community of people who are on a positive path. So with that being said, have an amazing day. Take care of yourselves and each other.